You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard to find. Welcome to the One More for the Good Guys podcast, where good guys gather to shed light on the good life, the people, and the good things that make it that way. I'm Mike McGill with my co-host, Jamie Akins. Now, raise your glass, lend us your ear, and let's have one more for the good guys. You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard. Hey, everybody, McGill Billy here.
And I am Jamie.
Thanks again for coming around and coming back, staying tuned, following us, liking us, subscribing, all the social media stuff, as well as the YouTube stuff. It is, honestly, we say this every week, but we see growth in it every week, and it is a absolutely free way that does help the channel. So if you haven't done that, if you haven't told anybody important that they should do it, then first of all, shame on you. And what's your problem? Go out and do it, okay? It's getting close to Christmas, and don't piss me off this close to Christmas. But at any rate, all kidding aside, thanks for following and liking and subscribing. And if you'll continue to do that, we'll continue to have mediocre podcasts and good friends and guests. And this week was a special guest episode, a fellow that I have gotten back in contact with after many years. And he's still out making a little racket and playing a little music. But my friend and soon to be yours, Mr. Michael Cover. Welcome, Michael.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me, Jay.
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
You guys.
Anytime, brother. What you been into? I mean, we've spoke a little bit, but you're staying busy these days down at the Blom shop.
Yeah, working at Blom. That's been almost right at 2 years now. That's been life-changing, really amazing.
Right.
If you've not been there, Blom shop, they got more than one location.
They do.
You need to go.
It's great. It's great. Love the people I work with. Love what I do.
Customer service is great.
Yeah. So we're well known for that. That's kind of what we pride ourselves in, being able to be real knowledgeable and friendly with folks. And we've developed some really amazing relationships with people. And
you can go there and say that you know that 2 of their employees have been on our show.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because Poe Hannah works there too.
And we just got the official word today from Amy that you guys are going to be one of our sponsors for the Mike McGill Christmas Spectacular this year.
Could not be more excited.
Yeah.
About all of that.
Which you're going to be a part of.
Yes.
I am. Yeah.
You're on the guest list.
I am.
And Michael's got a great story, and we'll get there to all that. But yeah. So what's been so life-changing about being there?
Oh man, a lot of different things.
You get to be high all the time.
Well, you would think that. I actually don't. I don't get high at work. Weirdly, I don't.
Is it prohibited though?
No, certainly not.
Okay, good.
No, of course not.
Our sponsors are special.
I find
to work
for myself anyway. I find that I do a better job when I'm kind of keeping it straight. Just in terms of being able to help people. That's the part of it that really that initially really changed my life that I plugged into was I had people coming in that were cancer patients, or people coming in that had just got out of prison for hard drugs, and people that were, a lot of our unhoused folks that are on the streets there, North Broadway, that,
sure.
A lot of people that cannabis provides a whole lot of help for, a lot of real important support for. It's medicine for a lot of people. So, that really kind of doing something it's not that I haven't ever done a job that I cared about, but this one was it was different,
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's every kind of person, coming in from, the highest of the high, and your doctors and your lawyers and your rich folk, all the way down to,
Right.
the people literally on the street. And I don't know that there's anything else that can like unite
Connect
us.
all those dots.
Yeah. It's special. I think it's my belief that it is.
You got
So
the
it's
full spectrum because
Literally the full
doctors and
spectrum.
lawyers all the way down to musicians.
And musicians. Well, weirdly, there's lots of musicians. I don't know if that'd shock you.
Oh, that's funny. Well, we're certainly excited to have them on board, and we got the opportunity to meet Amy at one of our gigs briefly in passing, and then, of course, with talking to you, and when I'd talked to you about being a part of the show, and then it just seemed like one and one added up to be something that we needed to do, and to not just be familiar with you, but with the company itself. So I'm going to be going down there tomorrow, and
I love it.
And
She told me that. Amy
checking
told me that
everything
today.
out,
Yeah.
and talking to her about some different stuff, and so it's exciting.
Yeah.
We've I don't want to let the cat out of the bag on here right now, but we've done very well this year with our sponsorship, and
I love to hear that.
And you had some help to help too.
Yeah.
That helps a lot. Right?
Yeah, it's helped a lot. Shout out to Ellen Chimay. She was a godsend. I knew Ellen was a badass from meeting her back in the old actor co-op days, and watching her wrangle. You think musicians are bad? God damn, you ought to see an actor. They're really weirdos. As a term of endearment,
In the best way.
in the best way. It's like that with all due respect, and that you're just getting ready to get slapped across the face with something that is completely not respectful. But at any rate, Ellen graciously offered to come in and shadow me and help me as an assistant of everything that I was doing for 11 years by myself. It's really good. We're way ahead. I might actually enjoy Thanksgiving this year and not worry about trying to be on the phone the whole time and, sending emails and texts and all that silly stuff. But so I'm really excited. We talked a little bit about it, Jamie and I did, before you got here, but we've got a really nice, from all the different guest selections to the stuff that the band's going to do, we've got a really nice ebb and flow and mixture of music. There's modern stuff. There's classic stuff. There's about every genre is covered in one way or another, from the classics to the standards to rock and roll to country to pop. I'm really excited about it. So I think it's going to be a good year. But so I was trying to remember, you and I'm terrible with dates, and I don't know if you are as well, but we first met, maybe
2007.
Okay, that was going to be my guess.
The only reason I know that is because I know I was at UT and I was about to graduate, and I graduated 08.
Okay.
So that was the year when I met you. That was about 06, 07, about that range.
That was going to be my guess.
So that's almost 20 years ago. That's a long time. Yeah. Because I think one of the first times I ever saw you play was I was in a history rock class. I was finishing out at UT. Yeah, I was finishing out at UT.
With Sean McCullough.
That's right. Yes, the Lone Tones. Amazing class to take with Sean. I had so much fun. It was me, and I was significant. I went back to college later in life. Not that much later. I was in my 20s, but I was like 6 years older than everybody else in that class, and the only one that was like actively participating in it. We had met already.
Did Chris Derman do something with that too? Not to interrupt your story,
I don't
but
think so.
Okay, carry on.
But we had these different units, and one of the prereqs for the class was you'd go see a live performance, and they did it. Was it at McClung? I think it was in it was in the library.
Yeah.
And I chose the country section because I knew the Drunk Uncles were going to be playing. And so my ex-wife and I came and saw you, and then we went out to, I can't remember where we went to the bar after.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's been that long. Yeah, a long time.
That's wild.
And I met you and Jeff and Sarah and Jay Clark and Jimmy Davis and all those cats.
Whole list of characters.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think yourself and Courtney and my ex at the time, Stacy and Meredith, all of them were big Jay Clark fans. And we certainly
we won't hold that against.
No, I should have known something was going to go.
Well, it wasn't just it wasn't just Jay. It was, I mean, Jay's amazing, but it was the whole community. Of people that I'm sure y'all are. Hopefully, y'all are still in touch. But that was just something I hadn't seen before. Yeah, that was something I had never seen before. Was not just that you guys were talented musicians in your own right, but that you had this community and you support each other and you showed up for each other's shit and
I always tell folks that, that's, I've been trying to figure out a way to tell folks about this show particular over the last several months. I've been thinking about it back and forth, and, I don't know. I was telling Jamie also that earlier that like this, it's almost like the last 6 months have been this weirdly self-reflective and or thoughts of like I'm getting ready to go out and play the back nine. You know what I mean? I got to make this score count. And what I've done up till then and what I but
what do you still got? What do you got in the tank, and what can you do with it?
Yeah. and there's a big part of that is the community and the feeling and the specialness of what we have here.
Yes,
is something that also drew me to it.
Yeah,
because I had came from that bluegrass world, and it was a pretty good world too, but there was a lot of jealousy and
grass holes,
and backbiting and things like that.
Yeah, who's the hottest hand? And it's competitive instead of,
it's like, I just want to sing harmony with you guys. I don't give a fuck if you feel threatened because I'm better than you. I'm at that point, I was just like a sponge. I needed more and more and more and more. And, but not so much of a lot of that in this community. And, with the Christmas show, that's one thing about it. One of the highlights for me is, I hear from a lot of folks, they're like, we would rather just hear you, or we'd like for it to be, and that's very flattering as well, but that's not Christmas. Okay, that's great. So let's do another one of these in July if you just want to, have an opener in me or whatever. But this is Christmas, and part of that whole Christmas thing is folks like yourself and or Matt Woods, who's going to be a guest, and Jody Manross, people who's never actually gotten to see what life was like on this side of the microphone versus that side at a place that's as special and as near to all of our hearts as Knoxvillians as the Bijou.
It's our ramen.
It's the church.
Right?
Yeah,
basically.
It is. And if people can get that or understand it, then they can do their own show when their name's up on the marquee.
Yeah.
But that's what it's Chris. That does
best Christmas present I've ever gotten.
A world of good to be able to know that you had enough stroke or something that you could give somebody the opportunity to do something that I always thought about and or
It's been my dream, Mike. I know we've talked about this, but it's the stage to me. Like there's not another one.
And I think part of all, that was when we talked that night on the phone about that. That was, I think, that really got me looking at this and looking back and thinking about legacy and forward and how much this means. And because, at some point I've said it for years, I don't really ever know how it all happens. And then 5 minutes, somebody will be like, hey, curtains up, 5 minutes. And you're just like, well, I guess we're ready.
Yep.
Like,
and then when
you know what I mean? It's just, and
it's happening.
It's on you.
Yep.
And you're just like,
and then it's over in 10 seconds.
Yeah. It was 5 minutes ago. We were talking about the 10th anniversary show.
Yeah.
And here we are at 12. I mean, it's life, and life's that way in general.
Yeah.
Man.
Older you get, the quicker it goes too.
Yeah. It's just.
And I thought,
yeah.
I was watching a really good interview from back in the day with George Harrison, and he was just talking about like the first 40 years was like that, 40 fucking years, and it's like, how did that happen? Mm-hmm. He goes, so when you hear that old saying of, you get old people are acting like teenagers again. Well, that's why, so I found it very interesting. And I don't know, it just seems like these little nuggets have been coming from all over to make things,
man, it ties stuff together.
Perspective for me.
It ties stuff together, and me playing music in Knoxville just with the other guests that are coming out too.
Tell that story.
That's the first proper band I was ever in. It was the Cohorts. My friends, Jonathan Hall and Nick Kurtz and John Campbell. And the first show we played was at Patrick Sullivan's, open for Jody Manross. That's the first gig I ever played. Wow. And right around that same time would have been a gig where we were opening up for Woods when he had Plan A. So it was all that time period. They were starting out. We were starting out. And that blows me away.
Yeah.
And they blow me away as performers. And, later Matt booked some other bands I was in, he and Gina at the Well and stuff like that too. So, but it's been a long time since I've seen him. So all that's going to be, just hearing that, I was like, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
I still feel like it's not real, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, it's real.
Yeah.
And you're going to get to come to rugby with us too.
Yes.
Those are fun.
I cannot wait.
Those are the.
Yeah. And you're gonna stay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I've requested time off. Amy approved it.
Turn that in. I got to do that tomorrow. Tomorrow is like,
we have a blast.
All spectacular day.
I can't wait.
Is a fun. Both trips are fun. We did 2 years ago. We did 3 shows up there. The first one was not a Christmas show, so
that's right.
We had 3 shows there. But man, that's a fun.
I've been to rugby, but it's been since I was a kid. I went to a writers camp there when I was in. I think it was 8th grade, probably something like that.
I'd say it ain't changed much.
I bet not. I mean, it's beautiful. It's so small, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just
a little mountain town.
It's a special. I mean, I love playing the Bijou and whatever. But those rugby shows are fun too.
I can't wait.
They are, and they're obviously they're not attended in the same amount of numbers, but those people are there and are they're eager for it. They need it. They're wanting it. And that's how much more fun and how much better the performance is when you're in front of that kind of crowd versus
a bar where no one's even looking at you and they're having
McGill, your order's right,
Yes.
Or,
I did that. I did that shit for so many years, just playing at a smoky bar where no one gave a fuck that you were there. And it's a bummer. It doesn't make you like music more. I'll tell you that.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No, it's just the opposite of that.
Yeah, I did that gig in Westgate for all those years. And, you just get done playing something that sounded like it was on an Osborne Brother recording or something that was just tight,
Yep.
and it
And
just
then-
be,
Crickets.
yeah.
Pearls before swine, as the saying goes.
And you know, thank you very much. And you move on to the next, but that's, so your first band you were in was again,
The Cohorts.
Cohorts.
Originally, it was Jonathan Hull and the Wicked Cohorts, and that was a bit unwieldy. So we shortened it. Yeah, we had a good time. That was a really good band.
Did you, and you were playing bass?
I was playing. Most of the groups I've been in, I was on bass because
Okay.
no one else wanted to do it,
Yeah.
and then I could sing too, so it was like a twofer.
Right.
And
'Cause
I'm
that's not
writing
always the
songs too.
easiest.
So,
Yeah.
Right. It's hard to find somebody. It's not hard to find a good bass player, but if you can find a good bass player that can sing
Yeah.
backup and also contribute originals, then that's
Yeah.
It,
for
it
sure.
got me places I wouldn't have got just off my bass playing. Put it that way.
Right. And then, and that band was more, was it folky or was it, more,
It was almost
college
kind of
rock or
Jonathan.
hybrid fusion, super duper,
I don't know what genre
Black
you
belt,
would have called it.
double kung fu chopper? Or
It was not. Yeah, no, it was indie sleaze. No, I'm just kidding. I'm making up. We were kind of like Jonathan was really into Counting Crows, and so there was really sort of a kind of like a southern rock kind of R&B
Okay,
kind of vibe to it. Is what it was like.
cool.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of covers we did. We did a really good version of The Weight with all the harmonies on it. Like the band a lot around that time too. Still do, of course.
Mhm. Yeah, we were just talking about the band the other night at one of our at the Jig and Reel. We had a surprise gig at the Jig, and they had a band cancel. I hadn't booked anything for us in November, but just because of
all this coming up.
Yeah, and it just seems like, but they call and they're like, we've got a cancellation, and they just canceled on us today. And I was like, well, there's good luck on finding all our guys being off on a Friday night, or Saturday. Was it Friday night, wasn't it?
Last week,
Yeah,
Friday.
but I'll be damned. It was like the weirdest
Every one of the
thing.
refills
Everybody
on tap.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, we could do it. Well, Nate, the drummer, wasn't able to do it, but we got
Hunter Deacon.
Hunter Deacon came in and sat in with us, and of course he's as pro as they come. I mean,
It's a good show, man.
people
I
are like,
enjoyed
you
it.
guys don't even rehearse. We're like, fuck, no, we hate that shit.
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
No, I've just
People in general?
Yeah, people in general.
What's funny is you'll say, and the next one we're going to play is one we know.
Yeah.
Because we do shit all the time. He'll just pull
Yeah.
something out that we don't play. And
That's the
Everybody-
kind of player I've never been able to be. I can be the guy that's throwing the song at you, but I can't be the guy that catches it. I can't I could never do that. And that's a different skill level. Really is. And I know that we have some of the best guys that can just jump into any situation and go. And not just hang, but
Yeah,
like it's sing.
can drive through it,
Yeah.
not just maneuver through it.
Yeah. Well, we talk about Poe Hannah. I mean, talk about
Yeah.
somebody that could just do whatever he wants to do. It's gonna
Yeah.
be right.
He's certainly one of the. I mean, number one, you never find a better guy,
oh yeah,
and number two, his talent level is. He has as much talent in what he doesn't play versus what he does play. You know what I mean? And in any form.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll have a jazz gig one night, and then he'll have a honky tonk gig, and then there'll be a rock and roll gig, and then there'll be a theater gig where you got to sit and read, music and play with the strings and where everything is just so.
Mhm.
And his talent levels
He did something, and I
Really?
wish I had recorded this, but we played.
second to none.
Yes, it is. We played. Our coworker Emma had her birthday party, and she asked her birthday present was she wanted me and Poe to play a little bit, and so we didn't play for too long. I don't even think we did an hour, but as Poe was packing up, getting ready to leave, Emma wanted to read some of her poetry, and before Poe unplugged from his amp, I was like, "Hey, wait. Why don't you play some weird, moody shit while she reads this poetry?" Because I'd heard a couple of them before, and I knew it'd be special. And he did that, and man, like the whole place was just riveting. It was amazing. And it was Emma's words, but it was the way that he was playing off her words. Just talk about jazz. It was amazing. And I think they might even be like working on something.
That's cool.
Yeah. But he's just one of those guys, man. He's a virtuoso is not the right word, but
of course, Jamie and I, we met years ago, and he was, hell, you probably forgot more than, I mean, you were.
I tried to.
But he was at that level even then, young, and I was still trying to figure out how to put the peanut butter with the jelly.
I'm in awe of folks
I knew
that
I
can
could
do
sing, but I never could put the guitar and everything. And
it's a blunt instrument in my hands, y'all. I can't. Yeah, for me, it was always a way I wanted to write songs and sing over it. I never got into the real technical components of it.
I had no desire to. Yeah. I mean, maybe a little turnaround here or there, or some little signature lick or something that would accentuate a song. Then I'm all about it. But as far as like, everybody's like, you need to learn to flat pick, and I'm like, you need to go jump off a bridge.
Yeah,
because I have no desire to be Tony Rice. I love it, but I want to be the nose guard guy that keeps everything right where it's supposed to be, and do this because I know I'm good at that. But
I just wanted to be in front of a microphone. Yeah,
that's
what I wanted. Yeah, at the end of the day,
one of my favorite. So back in the day, we were playing up in Graves Mountain, Virginia. And we were on this festival with Larry Sparks, and he's having a terrible time with the monitors, and Sparks is one of them old timers, I mean, like got more soul than anybody in bluegrass music, and is a stylist when he sings and his playing. But he was having a hard time, and those old guys, man, they like those fucking monitors. I mean, that close to your ears bleeding. I mean, like Spinal Tap didn't have shit on these guys, and you're standing there with a big D28 boomy ass, big fucking chunka, And finally, he just keeps having trouble. And I guess the guy's talking to him through the, talkbacks on the monitors, and I'm assuming he says, "Is that better for you, Mr. Sparks?" And he goes, "What I need, son, is a whole lot more of all of this and a lot less of all of this." And I'm this band,
Yeah.
It is, it's at that point you realize those guys don't know how funny they are
just talking
of just that meant nothing by it, but it was just like basically you guys need to shut the hell up and listen to what I'm doing. Oh, so every once in a while I'll pull that one out. I was the sound guy would be like, I need a lot more of this, all of this, this, and all of this,
all of it.
Yeah, not so much of all this.
Oh man.
Oh, mercy. So, were you raised in a musical household? How did you catch the music bug? Did you guys?
I was just thinking about this on the way here, weirdly, because I was thinking about the radio. When's the last time y'all thought about the radio? I mean, we just don't. It's not a thing now. But I was like raised by the radio, I would say. And there's always music on in my household, and
it'd be a good song, Michael.
Yeah, I know, right? Write that down.
Mm-hmm. It's a good
hook. And I think first, like oldies station, my mom was always listening to like shit she grew up with, and so it was Motown and folk music and early Beatles and stuff like that. And my dad got me more into stuff like Zeppelin and Floyd and later Beatles, and the Beatles were the band that did it.
So it was before pot and after pot.
Basically. Except I found all of that before.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, the stuff that I was finding myself, though, was just the pop music of the day. Then this is like
top
late 80s,
40.
early 90s. Yeah, that's it. Which actually, in retrospect, a really cool time for pop music because there was just a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Like it
We've said
didn't matter
that.
what genre it was.
Yeah, we've said that for a long time. Yeah, I believe that.
Just the variety of it, I guess.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking about was how I got into country music because it was backwards. I thought country music when I was growing up, I thought I hated country, and it was because it was all the Nashville shit on the radio, and I didn't like any of that. And then I heard a couple bands on the radio. One of them was the V-Roys, and one of them was Wilco. And I remember vividly playing one of the Wilco records I bought. It was the second Wilco record being there. And there's a song on there. I'm not remembering the title right now, but my dad came in my room and he was like, this is country music. And I was like, no, it's not. It's Wilco. He's like, this is a country song. Far, Far Away. That's the name of the song. But it is a country song. It's got, pedal steel and the whole nine on it.
Yeah.
But I got into it backwards like that from stuff that I was sold as what they were calling alt country, I guess, then. And now you'd call Americana, or should we don't say that word, right?
Yeah.
But then I went back and found everything else, so. That's what I lean towards, though, is that kind of blend of, rock and country, because they're not different to my mind. Same way blues and country aren't different. Those were just racial terms more than they were anything else. Yeah,
blues and country to me are the stories.
They are.
The life experiences, for me, I think that's why, it's been duly noted, but that's why Ray Charles loved country music so much, was the stories, and those melody lines. And so, yeah.
Well, it's folk music, man, just music that's for the people. The contrast, I suppose, being to classical forms or what jazz ended up being, not how jazz started, but what it ended up being was stuff that there were barriers to you accessing that music or being able to understand it or appreciate it. And folk music is not that. It's what you hear on the porch.
Yeah.
Right.
What your uncle's playing.
Yeah. It's did you all have, was there music always in the house or
They noticed that I was super interested in music pretty young. And so they started me doing piano lessons that I didn't really take. I learned, I did learn a little bit.
Sure.
Enough basic theory where I can still, tell you what keys are and stuff.
Right.
But it wasn't my instrument. And then I got into band when I went to middle school and tried the trombone for a little bit, and that intake it wasn't cool.
Yeah.
Now I think it's cool as shit, but when I was in sixth grade, it wasn't cool. And then I found the guitar, and the guitar was the thing. It's like, I love this. And I would just, when you fall in love with your instrument and that's all you do is all you want to do is just sit in your room and,
they call that puberty.
So I just saw where that was.
All you want to do
I thought about leaning into it.
Yeah,
I just wanted to play with my instrument. That's all I wanted to do. I'd found my special purpose, Mike.
Amen. It's like that old stand-up bit with Richard Pryor where he talked about first learning how to masturbate. And he was like, yeah, where's little Richie? Is he in the bathtub? Where's Richie at? And he's taking a bath. Where's Richie at? He's in the bathtub. Or is he in the bathroom? He's like, hell, 3 weeks, I was the cleanest son bitch on the block.
But what's funny though is it's not far away from that. It was about that time in my life, and I was finding all that, just getting into girls, and guess what? I thought girls might like.
Yeah,
guy that played guitar.
Oh, absolutely.
Wrote a song or two for more than one of them.
Yeah,
you might can relate to that.
Yeah. My Dr. Melton, our choir teacher, I'll never forget. He kept trying I was already signed up. I knew I wanted to do it, but he was trying to talk different boys into coming into boys chorus, for the first, like the freshman year. And I remember he said, he was a very wise man and he was a great, still is great man, but I know he had used every tactic he could use. And then at the end, he was just like, and chicks really dig guys that can sing.
It's true.
And there was like 3 guys stepped up and was like, oh, okay, I guess we can do a boys chorus class, you know?
Yeah. That wasn't, I mean, I'd be lying if I told you that wasn't part of it, but it was all of that, you know? And it was, I've always been into language, just words, you know, I always loved to read, always loved the, you know, symbolism and deeper meaning of shit and trying to, you know, figure out what things were. And
what did you study in school?
Yeah, I was an English major.
Okay. That's what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah. I wanted to be a journalism major, but I'd failed out the first time I went. They wouldn't let me in the College of Communications. So guess who will take you? The English program. And I loved it there. UT English program, amazing. And I had just the best time. But yeah, that's what I like the way words fit together. But
it's a powerful language.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very, I catch myself all the time being like, what's the right way to say that? Cause like that carries meaning, you know, it's not just unfortunately, like a large percentage of people just fucking let her fly. And it's like, no, you know, you engage the brain before moving the tongue.
It can be so nuanced and it can be so complicated to truly understand what somebody's trying to say. And you know what's crazy too is like, I'm trying to learn Spanish on Duolingo, and it's been about a year now, and I have made some progress, but just the ways that different languages work, you can't say things the same way in different languages. And it changes the way that you think about things. I think goes a long way to telling you why we have some of the problems we've got trying to communicate as a world, you know, as a human species.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't know what you're fucking saying.
What are you saying?
Stupid.
You're not saying anything.
You're not saying anything. You know, maybe if I go visit Madame Clairvoyant down here and grab her crystal ball, I might know what you're saying.
But words are.
Well, that's what I mean. Well, no, that's not what you fucking mean, because that's not what you said. But you knew that.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, I knew what you said because of how you said it.
I just love this example. Words are magic. Words, I can say the word umbrella. You just pictured something in your brain. That made something happen, like in your brain, just by me, you know, speaking something like out loud. Like that's magic. It is.
And thought about the Blue Umbrella song by John Prine.
I thought about a
specific umbrella
and thought about how stupid it was. That's exactly
been
what
a theme here lately.
Yeah.
I like that Rihanna song. But you know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's fine. You know,
it is. It's magic. And that's why songwriting is magic. And that's why I love writing songs and why I've always, been doing that for a long time. And I don't know if I ever got a good one or not, but I keep trying anyway.
You got them out. That's the battle.
A couple of them.
Seems like, you know, as far as just getting them out of the data bank.
Yeah.
You know, I think I've been stuck and struggling with that for forever. I was telling Jamie earlier as well that I just got a little, you know, a piece of the muse or something hit me the other day, and it was like, oh yeah. And then I started just putting words together and thoughts and feelings. And then I was like, how's the best way to deliver that? You're not going to do, and you do it over this kind of beat. And, you know,
is that how you write? You think of
there's no specific. A lot of times it's just, you know, it's from an experience, and it just all, you know, you have it hit you at one time and then you work through it and figure it out. And then other times it's a melody first and then a lyric, or a lot of times it can be, you know, I've only written a few songs that was, like I got up with the purpose of writing a song today.
Right.
I've had a few.
That thing where you're like clocking in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not bad. I mean, there was a couple of keepers of those type of songs.
I tried to, it's been about 5 years ago, and it was right around the pandemic. and I was locked up, right? So I tried to do the dolly thing, that one song a day. And I'd get up, and what I was doing was I was keeping this didn't work for very long, by the way, but I was trying to work from the title. I was like, if I can come up with a bunch of, like, think of a title. One of them was Black Light Jesus. I remember that really well. It's like, that's a good song title. I like that. Like, what does that song sound like? And then that morning I'd be like having coffee, like, what's Black Light Jesus? Pick a key, try to, what is this thing? It's a great exercise. I don't know how many good songs I got out of it though.
Well, I think that's the key.
Yeah. How many of those have we heard of Dolly's? I'm sure she's got just thousands and thousands of hours.
But she probably, who knows? Mm-hmm. There ain't no telling with people like that are on another level.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She's not human when it comes to that shit.
No. I seen a little clip of her on YouTube the other night from way back in the day when she was on the Johnny Carson show, and she had written a little ditty about how, she could have came on there and told him how that popped her career and how much more stuff she got, but she wrote a song.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know that
ditty
clip
about it and did it for him, and he was just, gobsmacked
and played
mesmerized.
It too.
Yeah, with fingernails this
like that long. Yep. And doing their little,
it's like, how do you grab a fucking D chord?
Yeah.
I don't. 6-inch fingernails. and it wasn't in the day when she was cording everything open on a bar cord. She was actually, I was like, holy hell.
I don't know how they do it. It's amazing to me that.
But that's her expressions.
Yeah, you being an
language.
English major, you can relate with this, but I write, and everything I've ever read about, especially about writing fiction, is to be concise and, no wasted words and all this stuff. And that's exactly what songwriting is you got to be able to deliver your whole idea in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep. And we talked about this last year, and since Christmas is coming, I told them, I forget who our guest was, but greatest song lyric of all time as far as saying the most by saying the least.
Okay.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Huh. Some bitch, there's a whole lore.
Yeah.
Had a very shiny nose.
Had a very shiny nose. The whole story.
Immediately.
And it's only got like 4 lines in it. Genius.
Yeah. I always felt that was the strong point of a lot of writers, songwriters and stuff especially with Merle Haggard, there was no more words or no less amount of words that could have been put in there. It was the line. Tom T was like that for me because it was
distilled. For lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just distill it down to its purest form.
Yeah.
I was just talking about this
and
with...
don't write, if you don't know about black and white cows and how they eat green grass and make white milk, don't write about that. Write about how she crossed the street.
What you see.
Yeah.
Or
what you know.
Yeah. How the first time we met was a favorite memory of mine.
Yeah. There you go. What
an opening lyric, man.
Yeah.
My favorite opening lyric, that's what I was going to tell you. I was just saying this at work the other day. We were listening to Warren Zevon, and my favorite opening lines maybe ever in a song, lawyers, guns, and money. And he says, I went home with the waitress the way I always do. How was I to know? She was with the Russians too. And that tells you so much. That's a novel.
Yeah. It's a screenplay.
It is. Yeah. It's cinematic.
I think of movies movies. I think of songs like that too, like that first Romeo record I felt like was so visual. Like everything you could see. You could, and that's, I've written other stuff like that I feel is like that, but at any rate, hopefully that's going to,
I hope you get writing again. I can't do it on purpose, man. I can't. For me, they're like lightning bolts if I get a good one.
I think it's like you said, that is an exercise that's good for you, but not,
Well, some people work that way.
Some people can
turn it out.
That's what Stephen King does when he writes. He clocks in. He writes X number of words every day, and not all of it. Some of it's shit, and some of it's gold. But that's what he does every single day. And that's not how it is for me.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever one specific way.
There's not.
For me, for sure.
The only universal advice I've ever seen as far as writers go is get your ass in the seat and write.
Yeah.
That's it. And now, however you get, whatever it takes to get you to that point, I heard somebody say one time the biggest obstacle to getting a book published is writing one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. That's,
because
now you can get published. You can self-publish, man.
But, used to, a lot of people talk about how am I going to get published? Well, finish something first and then worry about that later.
Yeah.
And
get started.
We got to have an idea and you got to feel inspired,
Yeah.
Yeah. And not everything has to be, your fucking next Magnus Opus. It don't have to be.
That's why I'm stuck. I've been working on this. I've been working on this EP for 5 years now that keeps getting longer. And it's a concept thing where there's like characters and a storyline and all that. And it's really good. I love it, but I can't finish it. And at some point I'm just going to have to say like, I've written the songs. This is it. But I keep finding places where I'm like, oh, what happened here though? I could put this here.
Well, is this, if I may ask, is it something that's fiction but based off of and or inspired by true events?
Yes, that's a good way of saying it. It's a fictionalized version of something.
You might not have lived through the ending yet.
That's a good point.
I had a song like that stayed open for like almost 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I had the past, I had the present, I had the future, I had the chorus, I had the bridge, but I didn't have the ending.
I started with the end is what's weird. Because it's a Bonnie and Clyde story. Okay. So they die. The first song I wrote, they die at the end. That's what happens. And then I wrote the way they met. And then I started filling in these gaps in it.
A lot of stories, writers do that. I mean, start in the damn middle. George Lucas.
Yeah.
Mine
just happened to be, I hadn't lived through that part of it yet because it was so, a true story. That's, that's the title.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't, and I kept being like, I got to write the ending. I got to get to the thing. And then,
and that's like the ultimate McGill song. If you write the song called The True Story, like that's like, it's like the Mike McGill song.
Yeah. And you want that shit to be right.
Yeah.
Right. Or say everything you needed it to say.
Yep.
But then one day, just out of the blue.
That's a good tune. We don't play that enough.
Yeah.
We didn't play it to the
That's it.
It's a great song.
Thank you. Yeah, I get selfish and I get caught up in not necessarily because I don't want to play my stuff, but I get in that mood and the next thing you hear or do or see or something reminds you and you totally just want to do what the fuck you want to do that night.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I do.
And a lot of times that's covers of some of my favorite stuff.
Sometimes I am sick of my own bullshit, man.
Yeah.
And I don't want to think about something that I wrote. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because half the time, the way I've tried to over the years to pick covers, people are normally asking, "Did you write that one?"
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless it's something really, really noticeable, but be like, "No, I wish I did."
Well, but you are a bit of a you're kind of a preservationist in a way. Some of the stuff that you do, some of the really older country tunes,
I guess,
there's not people doing them.
That's true.
Anymore. There's a lot of it that before I met you and before I started hanging out with and getting to see some of the shows I saw y'all play, there was stuff I didn't know.
Mm.
And I was going to say this earlier, but I got to go to, speaking of Mr. Clark, but got to go to Jay Clark's 4th of July shindig at his place one year,
Yeah.
and we were all there together. And that bonfire, man, I'd never seen anything like that before. I'd never seen it. Everybody, there must have been 50 people, 60 people there.
Probably so,
Everybody
yeah.
could go. Everybody could play. Everybody there. And here's a stand-up bass. They're just tossing it around, here's a banjo, mandolin, guitars, fiddle, the whole nine.
Yeah.
And I remember Jay coming around with a thing of moonshine cherries.
Because that always helps.
and then Jay got in his cups, I would say.
Yeah.
And I just remember he was sitting behind me, and I remember someone finished whatever, not just one person, but like a fucking amazing group just played, and they just all just picked up instruments and went.
Yeah.
And Jay be like, play some fucking sadder. And that's what it turned into.
Yeah.
It turned into just like, who can play the saddest, you can guess where it ended, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure I had a part of it too.
You probably did.
Definitely knew some old sad songs.
Well, and the saddest one being probably, you would say what? He stopped loving her today, probably.
Oh, no.
No.
I
Okay.
mean, that's pretty morbid.
Chiseled in stone.
That's a tough one, but that's still,
Vern Gosling.
that's baby shit compared to the one I got.
What do you
What
got?
Echo Mountain.
Never heard it. Okay.
Well, unless you're just ready to be fucking flabbergasted and floored, especially around that kind of group of people who are it's a story about a man and husband who go out to, it's an old bluegrass tune. I mean, nobody's ever fucking heard it, but I remember during the pandemic, we were doing a live stream from my buddy's garage, and we do one about once a month or once every other week or every couple weeks or whatever. And Jay was on there in the comments, play a fucking sad
Of
one.
course.
Sad, and you play one and be like, no, sadder. No, sadder.
Yes.
I'm like, well, he's drunk.
Yes.
And then I was like, all right, you fucking asked for it. Here you go. And I sang that one, and he just wrote back, okay, you win.
You know what the one that stuck with me from that night was, and I wish I knew who had played it. It was a Steve Earle song I'd never heard off
oh gosh,
it's that Train a Comin' record that he did. That's kind of a more stripped down traditional country sounding record, and it's called Goodbye. And that's one of the. You ever heard that one?
I have not.
What a song!
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and there's not a lot to it really. But
There's a song with George Jones called "The Visit" that is probably sadder than that one where he goes to the graveyard, tell his dead wife about his new girl.
Oof,
It's a
yeah, that's up there.
Yeah.
This Echo Mountain is about a guy named Jim and Becky Johnson, and they get married and they leave out to start their family. And this is like, and you can obviously think about the times with the lyric is, Jim and Becky Johnson started off to make their new lives with nothing but a Bible and a mule. So this is turn of century.
sure. Yeah.
When you say goodbye to someone, it may be.
Yeah.
I may never see you again. It wasn't hard life, hard times, but
yep.
they tried for years and years to have a family, and then finally they, out of the blue one day they're around and they find this old hound puppy, and they raise him, and it becomes the kid basically, and then she gets pregnant. And the hound loves the child, and
I don't like where this is going.
And everything's just, and everything's just great and wonderful. And then the dad leaves one day, and the dog leaves the kid with the dog, and he comes back home and opens the door, and there's just nothing but blood.
Yeah.
In an empty house, and he walks out behind the house, and the dog's covered in blood.
So he kills the dog.
So he kills the dog.
But that's not what happened.
Irrational response, and then finds that the dog had fended off 2 wolves from attacking the kid and had killed them.
Oh, man.
And so, and the chorus is like, so the cries on Echo Mountain still haunt me to the day. Every time I hear the story, I think God bless the brave.
Wow.
About a man who didn't use good judgment and the innocence was lost. The cries
chills,
on
man.
it. Oh no, it's just fucking, and then you get around all these campers and, and they who love their animals and all this shit, like Jay and that whole crew and like us too.
Yeah.
But then they're just like, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, you win.
Yep.
But it's an incredible song. I remember doing it at a house party one time, or not a house party, but a house concert.
Mm-hmm.
I was up in Michigan, and these people had wanted me to do this house concert and full, and I was looking to snap them back, just to really fucking hit them hard because they weren't getting it. I mean, they were getting it, but they weren't really getting it.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I broke that one out, and it was just like, there was a couple ladies had to get up and walk out of the room. It was not good.
It's a house party.
Note to self.
It's a little much.
Gonna have to have a little better setup work with this one.
There are those that are like that. They're just like, they're almost like weapons. You got to be careful what you do with them,
Time for sponsors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now for a word from our sponsors. Hey, good guys and good gals alike. If you're looking for somewhere to go to get your hair did, then look no further than the Chop Shop Hair Studio. Our longtime friend and supporter, Cindy Lou, opened this spot located in Knoxville's very own Happy Holler back in 2010. Chop Shop Hair Studio offers a variety of services, including facial waxing, accessories, tools, and a complete line of men's and women's products, along with essential oils. A lover and supporter of the musical arts here locally and abroad, Cindy has a small stage with stringed instruments and offers discounts to guests if they are willing to play and or sing a song. The Chop Shop Hair Studio is a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll, and 100% pure style, just like our dear friend and owner, Cindy Lou. The hours are Tuesday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can also visit thechopshophairstudio.com and or call 865-525-4240 to book your next visit to go and get your hair did. Located at 1206 North Central Street, Knoxville, Tennessee, Chop Shop Hair Studios. Stop by and tell them McGill and Jamie sent you to have one more for the good guys. Well, so English major, high school, college. We got through a couple of bands. I mean, we were just talking about on the break of going through the pandemic and how big of a struggle that was for a lot of our sanities but
man.
You found comfort more in music at that point to help get you out of a tough situation.
I was doing the same thing. We were talking about doing like live streams and stuff like that. I was doing the same thing. It's just like you couldn't play out. So what are you going to do? You find some way to get stuff out there. I don't know how many people were paying any attention to it, but it gave me me something to plug into. And
I think that was the most important part about all of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is just having that
outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not even outlet. It was like you could, because you weren't, able to go anywhere or do anything. It was
a mental exercise.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I remember, when I very first started getting back out and doing a few things here and there. I mean, I went from playing 200 shows a year to I played 2 in 3 years.
Yeah.
So it was really fucking weird. And then coming back around to where you're, to where it almost seemed like everything was new again, like even learning how to carry a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
learning how to set your turn, wait, volley. You know what I mean? And it was like, it was weird times, hard times.
It was, man, because not that it's still, I performed a few times now as Third Creek. That's what I've been doing, is not calling it Third Creek Revival, because that to me is a specific group of people. And if I don't have that group of people, it's not the same band. One of my best friends, Dustin Scrimshire, was lead guitar, lap steel, pedal steel. And right when we started coming back out of the pandemic and gigging out again, after one of the first shows we played, he had a stroke and he's still recovering from it. He's one of the best players I've ever known.
How old fella is he?
He just turned 52.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So young.
Wow.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he's doing great. I was actually living with him right now. He's kind enough to put me up in his basement. And we still play about once a week. And he's got a whole lot back.
Yeah.
He has aphasia, so trouble processing language and communicating. I think his brain is fine. He's the same person. It's his ability to communicate is what's been damaged. He's in speech therapy and he does a lot of stuff to work on things all the time. And he's a vet, so he gets the VA sponsors that and does a lot of stuff for him. But it's been a struggle, and it's been over 3 years now. But yeah, man, it was like the universe kept saying, like, don't do that. Don't do the band. Like, the band just kept, but it's still special to me, and it meant something to me. It meant something to me in the time too. And we started it, Third Creek did, and still does. But everybody that was part of that group at the time was going through something. And the whole message of it was like, music's what gets us through this.
Yeah.
Music's what brings us together and creates something positive and gets us,
oh, absolutely, man. If I hadn't had it during my divorce, I'd have lost my mind for sure. I mean, because
probably been in prison.
That wouldn't have been far from it. But it also was like, was the timing of it as well, because it was during that time of you were just this super soaker sponge. Like, you couldn't get enough of learning and of any of it, from the history to the learn how to play it to writing it to the harmonies to all of it. It was just like more.
I'm still that way, man.
Yeah.
I still love music so much, and I'm still always looking for new stuff and always want to hear new stuff.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing I missed, the pandemic took away, is I had got really plugged into like just the open mic scene and going out and seeing a lot of people playing all the time. And seeing how many, because man, Knoxville this maybe is a good segue back to the show, but
Sure.
Knoxville is so underrated as a music town, especially considering we're in the same state as Memphis and Nashville. But Knoxville deserves, a spot on that list, if not the top of the list, for more than one reason. And we still there's people that come here to do music now. There's people that come here and not as like a second prize for Nashville kind of thing, but want to play music in Knoxville. I know that because I've met them and played music with them. And, we're very uniquely positioned geographically.
Oh, huge. We're a hub town.
Yes.
I mean, if you think about it, north, south, and or east, any of those three directions, you can be in how many different states in 4 hours?
Oh, yeah.
Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Kentucky,
Ohio.
That's what I never could understand about like Knoxville too, in a way was like, the music business, and then like events and, or say like, wrestling back in the day. It was like, it was always a thoroughfare. It was always a hub
to stop on the way somewhere else.
And it could save a tour.
Yes.
for some folks, for individuals and or musicians,
because everybody's passing through.
Yeah.
And then just the proximity to, to the Appalachian Mountains. And then that means to, kind of the cradle of mountain music and, folk music. And
well, all the old timers, the saying is, it was born in Bristol, grew up in Knoxville, and sold out in Nashville.
I mean, that's pretty true.
And it's pretty spot on, I would think. It really
is, yeah.
I don't know if it's sold out, but
if you're tracing it, I guess if you're tracing it directly from the Carters, which I guess most folks probably do that. But yeah, I mean, and then just folks like the Everly Brothers, who we don't claim enough. we should claim the shit out of the Everly Brothers, because that's country music, by the way. That was pop radio. That's country music.
Absolutely, Brother Harmonies. I mean, that set off They set off. I mean, think of all the brother acts from back in the day that covered from country to pop to bluegrass to gospel. I mean, you had the Louvin brothers, the Maddox brothers. You had they do the Nashville. Oh, God bless. I can't think of the Wilburn brothers. And then you have the Everly brothers. I mean, that's the Osborne brothers. That's where it's at, man. That shit. I mean,
and people growing up singing together know each other. Like,
if you were from a certain age and generation, you learned to sing bluegrass or what could be called modern day country now at that time, but you learned to sing because of Ira Louvin. Period. I mean, that voice was unmistakable, identifiable, and same way with the Osborne brothers. They crossed over so many different genres, and was probably, I watched a documentary on some of them the other day, but they were probably one of the most affluential bluegrass groups that crossed over mainstream and on the country charts in Nashville that ever, probably up until present day included, would be Del McCoury. I mean, that's a big old world, but
and it shows the not just the influence, but the appeal of that music. And for it to be, it's because it's not, I think people, or maybe I even grew up thinking this, that somehow country was a regional music. It's not. It's universally appealing. And that's because of some of the things we were talking about earlier too, about storytelling. And the way that you're speaking to, you're trying to appeal directly to people's emotions and their substance. Yes, the character. Yeah, you're telling them something about themselves because you're talking about you. And that's what's special about it. Now there might be, I'm not saying I don't like a pop song that's just a kind of a silly little love song, because I do. There's something different that happens all the time. Yeah.
No, I agree with you on that for sure.
But it's not regional music, and now, damn, I don't recognize what we call country music anymore. I mean, I just don't. Shit. It's not. No. I was eating a slice of pizza before I came over here at a restaurant, and this song came on. I was like, "What the fuck is this? Like, what is this?"
Choked to death.
It was so bad, and it might as well have been. I mean, it was whatever. This is what country sounds like, and I had to Shazam it because I was like, I have to know who sucks this much, and it was Morgan Wallen, and I should have known, but I was like, how? People like this, and people think it's country. And I'm confused.
I don't get it. Yeah. I mean, to each their own, I suppose. That's what makes the world go around, right?
I mean, I'd take 100 Taylor Swifts over one Morgan Wallen.
I'd take a fucking fight with 75 Ric fucking Flairs. Oh
man, it's not all bleak, but that part of it's a little bit bleak to me. That's the perception of what country is. That it's that, because that isn't what it is.
Well, hell, it's not just that genre that sucks now, though. It's anything that's pretty much is on
name a rock and roll group that ain't
50 years old,
30 years old, 25. And we're being generous at 25. I mean,
there's exciting things happening in rock.
But you know what I'm saying?
I do, but there are bands that are doing cool stuff.
Bluegrass is kind of the same way to a degree. I mean, everything you hear, there's good things there as well. And there's, with people like Molly Tuttle and Billy Strings and Thiele is still
I saw Sierra Hull at the Bijou not long ago. She's great. Yeah.
But for the most part, it's slick. It's slicker than hen shit on a pump handle. I mean, it's so overproduced and so slick. I mean, it's like
you can't hear the room anymore.
That don't sound like.
I went to see Doyle Lawson at Tennessee Theater.
Yeah.
And his band and group is not recognizable from what it was when Russell Moore and
Ray Deaton,
all
Wayne
that
Benson,
stuff. I mean, they are too good.
Yeah,
their vocals. It's almost like he went and got
the Stepford Bluegrass Band.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, they're really fembots, goddammit. She's not an upright bass player.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess it reminded me of some of this really polished Southern gospel stuff.
Yeah,
the singers,
for sure.
That kind of singing with that instrumentation. And I was like, man, this, and it was auto-tuned.
It's too clean. Yeah.
Which they all are now, which is crazy.
It is.
Even live.
That's what's fun.
It's crazy. Well, you can't afford to sound like shit.
Right.
That's why a lot of those people stop doing those award shows, because they it's a revolving door. They can't get everybody to sound good, and it's basically live. So they end up sounding like shit.
And then everybody kept getting busted for.
I'm going to need more talent in my monitor, please.
Yeah. That's good.
If you could put some more talent in my monitor, that would be great.
Little Far
Thank
Side
you.
We just do like the
cartoon.
We just do like the end of the Singing in the Rain, where you just have somebody else doing it off stage, and there's just an actor on stage pretending to be the singer.
Yeah,
that's kind of what Milli Vanilli was, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and they got called,
and they got fucking blackballed.
Yeah,
and now every goddamn
regular
performer,
they got done dirty. I'm just saying.
Well, to today's standards, for sure.
Yeah.
Because that's everybody now.
But I went to that Justin Timberlake thing, and I just said, and like I said off the air, but the band was slick, man. They were good. Mm-hmm. I mean, too good, really. I mean, it was just.
Well, nobody likes to show off.
Yeah, it was crazy, but the songs suck. The music just sucks.
It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't resolve. It's always got that damn. It's like I felt like I was listening to an organist back up a preacher. It's like it never resolves. It's always got to build tension, you know what I'm saying?
But it never goes anywhere.
It just never. And then they did one song. The best song that he has is the one from that damn Trolls movie.
Yeah.
And it's musical. Because it has to be, it's made for kids, basically, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's singable. But there's melody is gone in some genres, it's just gone. It's feeling like, to me, like late 80s.
Even like in rap, dude, how much shit are you going to fucking try to fit into this space?
Yeah.
You can't do it.
And how many people are you going to try to put on your record?
And you don't understand it.
Yeah. Everything's featuring. You hardly ever see something that's
And I love hip hop, but I don't recognize what's coming out now as hip hop. Like it isn't. Yeah. And it's not musical at all. That's
there's no pattern to it. It's all just, like I said,
once the mumble shit started,
it's almost like, okay, let's see how many words we can put in this 12-bar space.
Yeah.
We know by a common denominator of the last fucking 150 years that only this many is going to fit in. That's going to be recognizable.
Yeah.
But let's try for this many. It's, I think all genres are suspect to it for sure, but
well, and to that
fucking
point,
weird, man.
They had a DJ open up. Okay, at top of the month. Well,
right?
That was the best. It was the best part of the whole
I don't
night.
doubt it. I mean, there is an art to that as well.
Well, no, I mean, he was really good, but he played stuff everybody knew and liked.
Well,
it was a great playlist, and and I told the people I'm with, I'm like,
you
listen,
don't get the job.
Yeah,
I was
if you play Echo fucking Mountain, at the Justin Timberlake concert, even if it is the remix,
yeah, that's true. But all the songs I was telling people I'm with, I said, what do all those songs that they played have in common? I was like, everybody in the fucking building sang to them.
Yeah.
And there ain't none of his damn songs they sang to, like Baby One. And I was like, God, man, that's something that's missing to me in music. It's just
how old is he now?
43.
I mean,
singing teeny bopper sounding shit,
He's my age,
there's something to be said for, like you said earlier, folk music, stuff that's approachable, that everybody can.
Stuff that's got dirt on it, Jamie, because that's what I'm hearing you talking about, everybody being a really good player, but that doesn't mean anything if the music you're playing doesn't mean anything and doesn't feel like it's real, doesn't feel like it's coming from a place, a human place, because we're not perfect. We're fallible creatures.
Yeah.
And talking about our faults and talking about shit that hurts and mistakes we've made. And that's what brings us together. That's what music does, I think, is talking about that shit.
Guilty as charged.
Sharing it.
100% human.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing, I'm okay with the players being real slick and great, because you can have fantastic music with all that emotional stuff and still have top-notch, don't make mistakes players.
Of course.
The orchestra does it every time, which is a miracle. To me, the orchestra is a miracle. Symphony's a miracle. To get that many people in tune playing the exact, it's unbelievable to me.
Moving parts, variables.
Yeah. With a very limited rhythm section.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just, 7 players playing the same fucking line. It's, anyway, it's crazy. But you can have great music and still have great musicianship. It's just that the songs suck.
Yeah.
A lot of people will, like, I've tracked and recorded a lot of folks, and they're like, well, what's wrong with this? It doesn't. I said, your song sucks. I said, I can't fix your shitty song. I can make it sound as slick as I'm possible, but it still sucks. The song sucks.
We're on the Making Friends tour.
Yeah. If you don't want to know, don't ask me.
No, I'm
your
with
fucking
you.
song sucks. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what this turd is still a polished turd.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I've told that story on here or not, but so, I went to play with those guys up in Maryville, the Cat House Prophets, and they asked me to.
Good name.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good name. Dave Glover came up with it. I think Dave came up with that name. A really super guy, creative guy. We need to have OG Love on the podcast there one time or another. But so we'd started writing some songs, and it was real Southern kind of rock flavor. And I never really sang rock and roll. I knew I could, but it was kind of a whole different thing. And the next thing I know, we're opening up, few shows for this person and this, and different ones. And really, like Sturgill before he was Sturgill, and the Johnson brothers before Chris Stapleton went out to become a traveler or whatever the fuck else he's doing now. And
it ain't the Steel Drivers.
No. And then we got the opportunity to open up and work with the Kentucky Headhunters. And that was like, when I got my car, like, I don't know how many copies of that Picking on Nashville cassette I bought. I must have been 4 because that thing never came out.
Wearing them out.
Oh, wore it out. Frontwards, backwards, flipped, dipped, double tripped, you know, I mean, as much as I could get of it. So we were working with them and we were doing I think actually that recording studio, there's a recording studio in a big church over in Asheville. And I think it's called Echo Mountain.
Wow.
Now that I start putting two and two together. But so Richard Young, the guy with the Headhunters, was, he produced that record for us. And, you know, those guys were country as 4 foot up a bull's ass. I mean, you know, Fred was a 3-syllable word. Freyud, you know, and he always was, now Mikey, honey. It's like, are you my fucking grandma? Or are you a rock and roll guy? I mean, I don't understand what's happening right now. Are you Maud in disguise or what? But I just heard you sing, Have You Ever Loved a Woman by Freddie King that like peeled the fucking skin off of me.
Yeah. Melted the paint. Yeah.
Mikey, honey. And so we were doing this track. And our drummer kept doing this funky thing, you know, something he thought was really something, right? You know, like we all do. And Richard, come on. Okay, fellas, let's take 5. Just stay where you at. Let's take 5. And he comes out there, and the drummer's nickname was Bird Dog. And he goes, Birdie, honey. Birdie. Birdie, honey. Yeah, Richard. Said, you know that part there where you're doing that thing in between the and you know, and he goes, yeah, that part there. He goes, yeah, just don't do that. And it looked like that scene in Any Which Way But Loose, where Clint Eastwood took that fucking fish and slapped that dude across the face. It was so fucking funny. I lost it. I'm sitting in there and I was like,
you can't come back from that. Yeah.
No, just don't do that. Anyway, I don't know why I told that story. Something reminded me of it, but yeah, it was so funny. But that was a lot of fun, man. Because just thinking, listening, and being such a fan as a kid, and then getting to work with those guys, and they were unbelievable. Still, even old, they still just kick fucking major amounts of ass, you know.
Well, that's the other thing about it, isn't it? Is there's some of those older cats that can still like. I was just thinking about Marty Stewart because he's about to come back to the Bijou, and man, is there a better band? Like, none. I don't think that there is. And it's generational now at this point, right? Because he's got Scruggs' kid in the band, as good a player as you'd expect of his
on anything.
Really,
any fucking thing.
Yeah.
Lap steel, pedal steel, bass, guitar.
Yeah.
Anything.
How old is he? He's got to be 25.
No, he's older than that now. Okay. Yeah, he's probably.
He looks young. Looks like fucking Buddy Holly.
Yeah. Hey, you know, I don't know how old Chris is. He's probably in his 30s. Mm-hmm. I would imagine.
He's funny too.
Mid to late 30s, huh?
One of his kids get shot? Didn't Ricky Skaggs have a shooting incident years and years and years ago?
I don't know.
I'll look it up and see.
Chris Scruggs?
I don't know if it's Chris, but I'll look it up.
That's who we're talking about.
Yeah, I understand. Okay. Oh, Chris Scruggs.
Scruggs,
I got you. Never mind.
Not Skaggs.
Sorry.
No, somebody shot him for that little child molester looking mustache he grew back in the 80s.
Probably.
Just kidding. Not really.
Allegedly.
We don't want anybody to shoot Ricky Skaggs, whether he grows that little freaky mustache, but he does look like Maud now, though. Like if he come out in a bathrobe,
He does.
it would be like this might be CBS on Friday nights from my childhood. Is All in the Family next? You know?
Oh my God.
Oh hell!
You could do worse than looking like B. Arthur, I reckon.
Oh my God. He does.
I wouldn't
too.
fuck a guy. Did you ever see that roast where it's Jeff Ross? It's an older one, but it was at the Friars Club, and everybody told him, you know, don't be like super raunchy, you know.
To Jeff Ross?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But it's the Friars Club too, so I mean, you've got all the legends there.
Yeah.
So it's hallowed ground, you know, and
Like Rickles is there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
He was the best at that.
oh yeah.
No, he was, yeah. I think indisputably the best.
But he said something about like, I don't know, we'll just say Abe Pagoda because everybody, you know. But he's
Everybody
like,
shits on Abe.
Yeah. But he was like, and hey, Pagoda's here tonight. I wouldn't fuck you with B. Arthur's dick. And B. Arthur was sitting right beside him. And she just looked up like,
I bet she got a bigger laugh line though with the reaction.
Totally just with the reaction.
Brilliant comic time.
And then he was like, because it was just in the heat of the moment. He goes, and then so I run into her several weeks later, and he's like, I'm fucking shitting my pants. I'm so scared.
Oh,
like,
my Lord.
and she goes, you got me. Like, that was pretty good, kid. Oh, yeah. So you next time, say, I wouldn't fuck you with the author's dick. Oh. Hey, so we got this little thing we do, and no right, wrong answers. It's just a first thing pops in your head, and or if it truly is a favorite, you don't have to search back through the annals of time. Just a few little questions to kind of, it's fun.
Love it.
Do you have a favorite Christmas?
Oh, shit. I have a very specific image that just pops into my head.
Yeah.
And it's from when I was a kid, and I don't know how old I was, but was really into Masters of the Universe. It's a big He-Man guy.
Yeah.
So was Nate Barrett.
And I remember Christmas morning, we had it was like a bonus room we built onto the house I grew up in. Wasn't big, but it had the fireplace and it had the Christmas tree in it. It was like the Christmas room, really, is what it was. And walk out into a Christmas morning, and I had Castle Grayskull.
Shit.
Yeah, and they had not in the box, like not wrapped, like Santa did it, right? So it was all set up.
Yeah.
And they got me some of the guys, He-Man and Skeletor and all the dudes, and they were all kind of like set up. They positioned them around Grayskull and all that. And I remember, and you had the lights, the tree, and the sun wasn't up yet. 'Cause of course, that age you don't wait to jump out of bed.
That's a pretty good one.
It was, just thinking of that feeling of Christmas, the thing of like, the feeling you get when you're a kid. That's the thing we're always trying to get back that we can't, of just the magic, and my family's all together, and you got this thing that you genuinely believe that it's magic. You don't understand what kind of magic it actually is, when you're that age. But yeah, man, that's the kind of stuff that I miss about it, because you can't, unless you're a kid, you don't feel it the same way. I don't think.
Yeah.
You can still feel, it changes. It changes.
Yeah.
Different things matter to you, He-Man not as important to me as an adult, weirdly.
Right.
But
it's okay.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get back there.
Best fair food, in your opinion?
Corn dog.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. I would fuck a corn dog up right now.
Now they do those
I tell
jalapeno
you
corn
what.
dogs.
Yeah.
Shit.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Too, man.
If you had 3 wishes, What would they be?
It can't be no bullshit world peace or nothing like that. These are your wishes.
First, that crap about the kids. That Steve Martin bit. He's talking
America? Fuck them kids. and Bernie Mac.
Oh, what? Jesus, that's hard. I wish that I'd got to see the Beatles play a concert. I wish that I've always been really into space. I wish we still had a meaningful, federally financed space program and not a space douchebag shooting bullshit into the sky instead.
Wait a minute. What about the Space Force?
Yeah, we got that, I guess. It sucks. I wish we still had that.
You.
I've always thought when we landed on the moon, I didn't get to see that, obviously, but like I always thought there was
name
something.
Them Space Cadets.
We could. There's already a whole ass program for all of that. We could have just kept doing that.
Yeah.
We lost the way we lost interest in the space program, and I get why it happened. And a lot of it had to do with Challenger 2, and there were things that happened. But I wish we would still meaningfully invest in stuff like that. And third wish, shit. I wish that I was not allergic to peanut butter. It's caused me a lot of trauma in my life.
Shit.
Yeah. That was that kid that meant that you couldn't have your favorite snack growing up, you know. It was rough.
Man, I always
sent me to the hospital.
I always thought like a peanut allergy, like if you were at a bar.
Oh, man.
Right. And they got the peanuts on the bar like they did back in the old days in our days. But there's this hot chick. She's eating the peanuts and she's like, how about we get out of here now? I'll give you
What are you going to do?
in the mop closet. What do you think about that? Or behind the dumpster?
I would go straight to the hospital.
Damn right you would. Good answer.
My voice would get a lot higher.
If you could live in any decade, which would it be?
Like as an adult.
Yeah.
I think late 60s into early 70s is where I'd want to be. Yeah. Would be pretty cool. For the music in particular, but movies, culture in general, just think, I know there are obviously a lot of problems too, but just that's the stuff that I'm still drawn to. I'm still drawn to culture of that time period, art of that time period. Yeah.
All right. If you had a time machine, where would you go first?
Let's see some fucking dinosaurs.
Nice. Best book you've read? Or you're an avid reader, obviously.
God. This one always depends on when you ask me.
Best book you've read?
You're asking me right now.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm trying to think if I give you like the smart guy answer or the honest answer.
Whatever you want.
I don't know. Like the English major in me would tell you that it's something like Blood Meridian, but at the end of the day, I'm going to say it's something by Stephen King. Stephen King's my favorite writer ever.
Okay. Give me one. He's one of my favorites too. So is Cormac, but
well, I don't read Blood Meridian regularly. There's King books that I've worn the back out of.
Well, I got half of it's in Spanish.
There's not every day you just want to fucking commit suicide.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
King book, if I had to name one, Jesus Christ. Maybe like a weird one. Have you ever read Bag of Bones?
No, I haven't.
That's a really good one. They made a really shitty movie of it with Pierce Brosnan. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah. The book's amazing.
If you could go and meet one man and or woman from history, who are they and why?
Ooh. Man. Guys, you just don't want to give like the stock dumb answers, you know? Like, I'm not going to say Jesus.
Well, that's a pretty good one.
Maybe I could say Jesus, though. I mean,
sure.
I'd got some questions for him. especially right now. And woman in history, man. I mean, I'm going to name someone that's alive because she's probably my favorite songwriter ever. But we were just talking about Gillian Welch earlier, and I just bought tickets to see her at the Bijou. So, I mean, I certainly would love to meet her.
Perfect. I love it. What was your first car?
It was a, oh shit. It was a Geo Prism.
Oh,
yeah.
Style.
Baby blue.
52 miles a gallon.
What's your dream car?
I'd like to have a truck someday. Would. I don't even care what kind of truck, honestly. Even just like a Ranger would be good. Just something single cab, something small, not anything big, not what folks have now, but just something real.
It's your dream car. Okay, let's see.
I've learned not to get attached to cars. That's why I don't really have a dream car.
Gotcha.
I've had too many of them by this point.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
If I say the word wrestler, who comes to mind?
Ric Flair.
Your favorite actor? What was the first thing popped in your mind?
Cary Grant.
It's a good one.
Yeah. And you can elaborate if you want, if you've got.
He's like the coolest motherfucker ever.
Yeah.
But there's guys of that era. So I could have said Bogey too. I could have said Humphrey Bogart. Could have said, there's a bunch, obviously, but yeah, Cary Grant. It's hard to.
So you're an old movie. You like the old stuff.
I love all of it, but yeah, I'm a student of film.
Yeah.
For sure.
Sports. Are you a sports person?
I have been.
What's the top sports moment that you can?
It's a personal one. That's actually pretty easy.
Totally fine.
So I always wanted to be good at sports, but never was. Really wanted to be good at basketball, and I was too short and white.
Vertically challenged.
But I did have a moment playing baseball when I was a kid, and they always stuck me out in left field, and I was out there picking the flowers one day, and just so happened somebody hit a pop fly towards me, and I just stuck my glove in the air and held my breath, and I caught that motherfucker. The coach was, I think it might have been the happiest that I ever saw him, because he got to give me the game ball, and everybody was like, I mean, my dad was beaming. It was one of those. It was like Rudy, you know. It was like one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Beer.
Love beer. Favorite beer?
Yeah.
I like an IPA.
Yeah.
Yeah, an IPA guy. I like everything that keep it local here. I like everything that Crafty does. Crafty Bastard. Big fan of Zool. I was at Orange Hat before I came to see you guys. They were doing a really good job. That spot over off Cherry, where they got Baker Boy Pizza right next door.
Yeah.
Good spot. Yeah. Our beer scene in Knoxville is just an embarrassment of riches, I would say.
It's pretty good for sure. Saturday morning cartoons.
I'm for them.
What's your favorite? Or favorites, even if you can't narrow it down. Like what's the...
And I'm trying to think of it's funny because the Saturday morning stuff I remember the most is probably just like the Looney Tunes stuff that used to play all the time.
Yeah, sure.
But I think of Sunday mornings when they would show like Ren and Stimpy and Doug and All Real Monsters and like that whole kind of the Nickelodeon kind of era.
Yeah.
And then also wrestling played on Sunday mornings too. So
yeah,
our generation grew up in the golden era of Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, for sure.
You're a little bit younger now.
It was
so
about a 4-hour window.
Oh man, from about 7 till 11.
The Hanna-Barbera stuff was big right then, I'm thinking.
Yeah, they were. Yes, the residuals of that were, but
like maybe like Captain Caveman and Blue Falcon and
Yeah.
what do you think of when you think of Saturday
Morning cartoon, Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay. I didn't even know that was a thing.
That was a big one. Smurfs.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Saturday. Of course, the Looney Tunes. We grew up. That's from the 30s and 40s and on, you know. So many good ones. You know, Super Friends. There's another one.
Super Friends. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, because they had the DC Comics ones.
Justice League.
Yeah, they had all the DC ones. Yeah.
Max has all of the Super Friends on it. So you can watch every episode. Which
I finished The Penguin. Have you seen it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, man.
It's killer.
Holy hell.
So much better than it deserved to be. It's like, what if we made a Batman story that felt like The Sopranos, you know?
Yeah.
Like, killer.
And it really, I'm going to say it might be the best Batman live action thing there is. Maybe as far as just.
Sir.
Other than the Christian Bale stuff. But the only thing they did with me and Batman was to just, okay, we got it. We got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Mom
feel
and
like
Dad's dead.
We've shown that
the origin story is
exploding on the pavement thing. Yeah.
We got it.
Enough of that,
Yeah,
you know. But we were talking about this. If you are going to cast the Penguin, right, and you know that your lead is going to be unrecognizable, okay, because if you didn't know it was Colin Farrell, you wouldn't know.
You would not know. There's no way to know.
No.
Why pick Colin Farrell?
Because he's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, but is he? This is by far his best thing he's done.
You think?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. What else is even comparable?
A lot of stuff that he's really good in.
Yeah, the True Detective stuff was good with that he was in. I mean, it wasn't the best of the True Detective stuff.
He's in some weird stuff. You seen any of the? There's a Greek director, Yorgos Lanthimos, and he's been in several of his things.
The Island, or what's the one where the guys are best friends and the guy's just like, fuck off.
That's Banshees of Inisherin, and that's amazing too.
In Bruges is good.
In Bruges, yeah, same director, McDonough.
But what I'm saying is that how is that guy? I'd be interested to see how many, if anybody else turned that role down, because you go back and you look at something like Pretty Woman, for example. Julia Roberts was like 15th choice. Nobody wanted to be associated with
sex work.
Yeah, well, I think they even asked Jodie Foster to do it, and of course, she played that in Taxi already.
Right, yeah.
Different vibe, of course, but she turned it down, I believe. But I just wonder. I think he's brilliant. I think the Penguin's brilliant. I think it's.
So I thought Kristen Milioti kind of stole the whole thing. Like she's so amazing as Sophia.
Lord.
Like amazing.
Oh God,
Kid's not bad either.
Kid that plays Vic's so good, and that ending. Yeah.
I mean,
because you like him by the end. I mean, like Oz.
Well, they
like Oz by the end,
and they did the whole Tony Soprano thing. You started having empathy.
Yep. And it's like, no, remember
this guy's a fucking
he's a killer. He is
not to give any spoilers out, but
yeah.
with the Vic situation, you kind of get pulled back into reality with that.
Yeah, that's
that's the big reveal.
And
because he does a lot of merciful things before that.
Absolutely.
He does a lot of things that seem like they're kind, and then you realize, that means the only reason he did any of that was to get exactly where he wanted to be, which he did.
It's fan, man.
Yeah, it's great. Killer.
I
almost don't want him to do any more seasons of it, because that one is so perfectly self-contained.
Have they announced anything like that?
I don't know.
They left it kind of.
It's going to build up to the next Batman movie. Yeah.
I mean,
so I went back and tried to watch the 2022 Batman.
Yeah.
Okay. Reluctantly.
With the Twilight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fine. But because, Farrell's in that as Oz. And I just couldn't get into it. I mean, it's super long too.
It's too long.
I'm a big comic book guy, and the original.
When you think of Batman, you think of Michael Keaton, probably, right? That's what I think of Michael Keaton.
Yeah. Okay, yes, because that's such
you want to get nuts.
Yeah, such a big deal.
Yeah.
And when I think of the Joker, I really kind of think of Nicholson too. Really,
wow.
I appreciate what Ledger did, whatever, but that's a whole different You know, Tim Burton brought The Dark Knight to the screen with Keaton.
What was a whole different thing? It was almost like
that soundtrack.
Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this first iteration of, you know, we're still going to keep it pretty close to the comic and the TV.
It's still a little bit.
You know what
it's
I'm
not
saying?
too far past
It's
the
not
smash boom pow.
right, exactly.
Adam West kind of shit.
So it was a great it was an easy end.
Yeah. It's
And
still
then-
kind of cartoony.
And then when Christian Bale come in, it was just like, oh shit,
Yeah. Well,
this is
certainly
fucking
different.
crazy.
Yeah.
And Christopher Nolan, and we know what kind
Yeah.
of a filmmaker Nolan is, you know, and he already was, but
But to hell with Ben Affleck,
I would pretend that didn't happen.
fucking Count Dracula boy, whatever.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I like actually Pattinson's kind of great. Have you seen Good Time?
Well, you would.
Have you seen Good Time?
Mm-mm.
Do you know the
Uh-uh.
Safdie brothers?
No.
Good Time, and then they did the one with Sandler a few years ago called Uncut Gems.
Oh,
You seen that?
fucking Jesus.
That's a tough
You
one.
seen that?
It's a tough watch.
Fucking watch it. But
It's
it's
great.
a goddamn pressure cooker.
It's like having a panic attack watching
It's
that
a
movie.
goddamn pressure
So that's
cooker.
what Good Time is, except it's got Robert Pattinson in it.
Okay.
And he's in this, it's like he's having the worst day of his life. And every time he does something worse happens. And he's just trying to survive it. And Pattinson is insanely good at it. It's how we got Batman, which is performance.
Well, I can see him being a good actor. It's just
He
that
is,
with
yeah.
the Twilight stuff, when that was so hot, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to watch this shit. And I was like, I want to die.
Oh, that shit set us back culturally 100 years.
Well, it's a
Stephen King called her garbage writer.
Yes, he did. Here's his quote. He said that if Harry Potter is a classic story of the battle between good versus evil, then the Twilight series is about the importance of having a boyfriend. You can't come back from that.
No. All I can say about that Uncut Gems is it's an absolute travesty that Adam Sandler didn't win the Oscar.
Agreed.
I mean, it's that fucking good.
It is that good.
You got to watch it.
And I'm now I'm really intrigued.
And Kevin Garnett
Yes.
actually plays a
Playing
supporting
himself.
role as playing himself in this.
And does
It's tremendous.
He's excellent.
Tremendous.
Yes.
see, Adam Sandler gets all over me. I just cannot.
You,
So I'll have to get past
Yeah.
that part of it.
well,
I've been saying he's a great actor for a very long time, since Punch Drunk Love, I guess.
it's nothing like you've ever seen him a part of
Okay,
anything.
well, good. I appreciate that.
So it's
I'll watch
not
that.
the-
then, but
He's amazing.
You know,
He's not Happy Gilmore.
but Happy Gilmore 2 is coming out.
is
soon.
it? Is
Yeah.
it really?
And I'll watch that piece of shit.
I can
will
tell you
too.
who's.
I'll
I can.
totally
I
fucking
can tell you who's not in it.
Who's that?
Bob Barker.
Oh.
Or-
Boom, boom, ba, boom.
The price is wrong, bitch.
Or Carl Weathers.
Yeah,
neither.
Ouch.
this is true.
And I guess probably the
Jaws
lady
guy.
that played his grandma, she can't be around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the actor from the Bond films, he's dead too.
Jaws.
I think so.
Yeah.
You
made that real fucking sad.
Yeah, I know, man.
I
It
forgot.
really is gotta.
It
I
is.
forgot you were a wrestling guy.
I am.
Okay, so tag team.
I want to hear you.
I'm going to go modern
Or tag
because I like to
teams.
be contrary sometimes. I'm a big fan of the Young Bucks, and I'm a big fan of what AEW's tried to do. I don't know how successful they've been, but I appreciate that they're the only meaningful competition WWE's had since WCW, and
Right.
they've given them a run for their money and lost a lot of their roster and at least created some competition. So I think that's
Okay, folks, that concludes this episode of Good Guys. No, I'm just kidding.
cool. What's the right answer? Rock and Roll
Oh,
Express.
it's your answer. No, there's no right answer. I mean, no. I mean, it's whatever your answer is. I mean, I'm just aggravating, busting your balls.
I always
but-
loved tag teams. Man.
Yeah.
That was something. I mean,
but you know, there's a lot of different eras there.
Yes.
I mean,
And size of promotion too. So
yeah, I mean, if you want to go back in the day, if you're going to say from back in the day, honestly, oh man, it's hard not to go. And he was such an asshole, but it's hard not to go with the Midnight Express, man. Beautiful Bobby with the Alabama Jam off the fucking top rope was a thing of beauty. And Cornette's mouth.
God, I hate Jim Cornette.
Oh, I love him.
He's still doing that. He's still in character doing that. He's got
more mouth than the boar hog's got ass.
He does.
Motherfucker's a genius too.
Oh,
he
golly.
really is.
People love Cornette. I don't get it.
I love that. I mean, I love Tully and Arn back in those days.
Oh yeah,
I
for
love
sure.
Rock and Roll Express. But then you got people like, I mean, how good was the Hart Foundation?
I love Nash and Hall, and that was when I first got into wrestling when they were doing that, and I loved the Razor Ramon character, and I just thought Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash is so fucking cool, man. Like he still is.
And played ball over here.
Yeah.
The tag teams I think of are the Road Warriors and
absolutely,
Killer
80s
Bees,
WWF classic,
Bulldogs.
Yeah,
every list that I've ever seen, because
Bulldogs were great.
Every list I've ever seen of the greatest tag teams, every one I've ever seen has the Road Warriors number one.
Dynamite Kid was unbelievable back in the day. I mean, he was a real, he was a real horse's ass.
Well, and I think those three that I just named all had that bigger than life look too. It's like
that Mad Max gimmick is hard to beat. Yeah, that's cool. And I didn't even get that's what it was, obviously, when it was, on TV.
Well, weren't they, is that, I don't know, Legion of Doom, is that the same?
Yeah, same
people?
Yeah, they just rebranded because Vince wanted to own their name. Like he did everybody else. He couldn't own Road Warriors, but he can own Legion of Doom.
Right.
Wow.
That era was so bad too. When it started going into all of that.
Yeah.
It got weird.
And but then coming out of the Attitude Era, man, I mean, it was hard to beat.
What did they call it when Rocky was with
it's hard to beat with the it was hard to beat the Dudleys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was hard to beat Christian and Edge. I mean, they were so despised. They were so fucking smarmy. And
what did they call it when it was Rock and,
the Hardy
Foley?
Boys.
What did they call that?
Rock and Sock Connection.
Yes. Yeah. I love Foley, man.
Oh,
love Foley. Oh, you got Foley over there?
Over there on the dresser, on the side of the dresser over there.
I can't
down.
see
You look down. More on your eye level there. The many faces of Foley.
I see it.
He went to school
Mrs.
with
Foley's baby boy.
Yep.
He went to high school with Kevin James.
Yeah. Yeah, they were on the Kevin James was like a stud athlete back in the day on the wrestling team and all that stuff. But
I saw Foley when we had what was it called, Side Splitters, before it closed. He did his kind of it's not stand up, it's just him talking, but
like a one man.
Yeah, was it packed? I bet.
Yeah, everybody came out for Mick. Yeah, I mean he's just a good dude. Beyond any of the other stuff about him, he's just a really kind and awesome dude. Seems to be.
He was doing a really good podcast there for a while with Conrad called Foley is Pod.
And just ended it.
Which was a great, it ended kind of abruptly.
Was it wrestling? I never heard it. Was it wrestling focused or?
Yeah, for sure.
Does he still work with the McMahons or is he, I don't know what he does now.
Oh, I mean, I'm imagining he's probably on like a Legends contract and doing
they just pull him in to do
the
special
circuit of, the Comic-Cons and Santa Claus things. And
he does love Santa Claus. You guys have that in common.
I'm going to sit down. I've said this for 2 years now and I've not done it, but now this next year, I'm going to sit down and write him a letter.
I think you could get him.
I think you could. I think we could too with the calls and everything.
I think you could
have him be our MC, and wouldn't that be fucking killer?
I think you'd do it. I really do.
I think he would too. I mean, because it's organic as well, and it's not a corporate sponsorship, corporation dictated, blah blah blah, or whatever. But
Well, and despite him being associated with the McMahons and WWE, he is 100% his own person. Is 100% made his own career totally outside of wrestling with the writing and with the stand up spots and everything else he does. So
well, all that shit's. Yeah, I don't think anything. With Vince being gone, he's not coming back with all that, but and rightfly so. But yeah, I think there's a possibility.
No hell hot enough for that man, in my humble opinion.
No, especially if everything that has been alleged was true. It's pretty weird shit, man.
It's bad, and it's always been bad.
Awful stuff.
It's always been bad. It's been bad for decades.
Yes. Candy bar. What's your favorite?
Let's go. So that's tricky with the peanut allergy, right?
Oh,
limited options. So I've always been a Twix man.
Okay.
I like a good Twix. So.
Not a common answer, though.
No, it's not, but it's still good.
But I just tend to avoid chocolate and baked goods any kind, really, because you never knew.
You never know.
Yeah, you never knew what might have peanuts in it.
Yeah. I can see that for sure.
I just don't love nougat that much. How much can someone love nougat?
True. What exactly is a nougat?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Jimmy, I don't know what nougat is.
I don't either.
Let's look that up. No.
That's one thing I miss though about television, and I guess it's because I don't watch a whole lot of network TV. But the commercials, man, I miss the Snickers. Do you remember the commercial that might be right before you? Remember the first Reese's commercials when somebody'd have a jar of peanut butter and somebody
No, I remember that.
And then
it'd be a red
and then they get smashed together. Yeah.
You suck your chocolate in my peanut butter. You go drink peanut butter in my chocolate.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh.
You know what commercial I was thinking about the other day? Tell me if you remember this. It's not that old. It was like circa early 2000s, I'm guessing, for Quiznos. And there was these weird fucking rat-looking creatures.
We were just talking about that. It's like, why?
You were just talking about that.
Why would you, as a corporate, as a restaurant, think, you know what?
Food.
Oh, I got it. We'll have a rat be our sponsor, our mascot.
And not just a rat, but the most fucked up looking. Yeah. But it was so funny. And I, remember being up late at night, especially.
Weird, man.
And that'd come on, and I might have indulged in some substances.
Yeah, but you wasn't that high. I mean, come on.
These subs are good for us. The song is good. I stand by it. They got a pepper bar,
Well, you reference that commercial all the time. That the other one about time to make the donuts.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude was I feel like I knew that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was on so much,
Mm-hmm. Favorite Christmas movie?
Scrooged.
Nice.
That's a good one.
We hadn't had that answer yet.
Love Bill Murray.
Yeah. Favorite horror movie?
Fuck. Yeah, it's like the book question. It's like, do you want the film nerd answer or the honest one? I think the greatest horror movie ever is John Carpenter's original 1978 Halloween. I think.
A damn good one.
Me too. Soundtrack. He did the music
everything.
Too.
He did everything.
What's
the perfect movie?
In your opinion, what's the scariest movie of all time?
The scariest movie?
That frightened more people than any movie of all time.
So for me, it has to do with the audience you see it with too and how other people are reacting. The most scared that I've ever felt in a theater would be split between 3 movies. The first one's Blair Witch Project. The second one would be The Ring. And the third one would be The Strangers. And the audience in The Strangers, I've never seen anything quite like that. I wasn't that scared by the movie, but the way other people were reacting to it made me more like, oh, shit, okay,
camera work in that had a lot to do.
It did.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack too.
Yeah. To me, we've talked about this before. Scariest movie of all time is Jaws. Nobody fucking was scared of sharks until 1975.
True.
And now
Jaws is a horror movie, and I will die on that hill. That's what it is.
And it's
Absolutely.
also one of my top 5 movies ever.
Oh, it's amazing. That Quint performance is
absolutely,
dude. Farewell and adieu to your
black
French
eyes.
Spanish lady.
I love that guy. I love him. And we were talking about that the other day. He's in the Sting too.
Uh-huh.
He's-
The bad guy,
Yeah.
the heavy.
Stand-up comedians.
My favorite stand-up of all time, Mitch Hedberg.
I knew that.
Current working stand-up, Brian Regan. Of all time,
He's good.
He's so good. And if you ask most stand-ups who their favorite comic is, they'll tell you it's Brian Regan.
That's true.
There's nobody better
Yeah.
at it. And
I
he works
forgot about
clean.
him.
He doesn't even like, there's
Right.
nothing sexual. There's no innuendo even
I
really.
like Tom
There's-
Papa a lot.
Yeah, he's really good too. And there's a
His new
Bergazzi
special's
is
good.
doing a similar, he's running a similar kind of thing and he's great. And I love I'm nostalgic for like the old Steve Martin stuff too and the kind of anti comedy thing. Love
I
Steve
love
Martin.
Steve Martin so much. Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
I put that. Have you seen that?
I haven't.
Oh,
It's really
great.
I love him in Short.
It's good.
Short's great.
It's where, I mean, it's good.
It's surprisingly good.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched. I was like, okay, now I see.
I thought that the first, it's like, well, there's nothing else to watch, that
Mhm.
kind of thing.
But then
I
you got,
was
like, into
holy
it.
Shit, this is actually
Yeah,
what a interesting premise.
yeah. Concept is.
Yeah.
I got to see him once, and it wasn't stand up. It was when he was touring with Steep Canyon, and and he was and they were just doing music. But it's so funny. Like he really wants those shows to be just about the music and just about him playing banjo and about the band. But there was he didn't say shit in the mic for like the first 4 or 5 songs, and then they finished the song. And he gets up there and he's like, we would now like to play for you a song that we have completely memorized. And like, that was like the only thing he said the whole show. He's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
King Tut.
Mhm.
That was big. What about mob movie?
Goodfellas.
Yeah.
You're either a Goodfellas guy or a Godfather guy, I feel like.
I'm both. I love
yeah,
both,
I mean,
man.
There's no wrong
definitely
answers.
both. No. Superhero.
Batman or Spider-Man. If it's for Marvel, it's Spider-Man. But really my favorite Marvel characters are the X-Men, just writ large and not a single X-Man.
Yeah.
But that's what got me into comics.
Did you see that? I'm sure you did, but have you Deadpool 3?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Pretty funny.
My
Pretty
favorite
good.
stuff in that was all the nods to the comics that are in
Yeah.
there and like recreating covers and like showing eras that nobody like there's an Age of Apocalypse reference in there that I loved, like some of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's not a great movie. I don't love it, but there's some really cool fan service.
No, but I thought, it was Deadpool.
It's fun.
You know what I mean? It was that
Yeah,
irreverent.
and you can tell that
You know.
those two dudes are, but I mean, they're real close buddies in real life too. So you can tell that chemistry was,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm ready for Jackman to be done with Wolverine, though. He's served his time. You know,
What do you mean, bub?
I love him as Wolverine. I do. I didn't at first.
Explain yourself, bub.
That's good. He looks like he could kill you. I mean, he does. But he's not. He's like a song and dance man. Like I want him to sing. You know,
He is a good singer.
he is.
That's the first time I ever saw him was in a production of Oklahoma
Mhm.
on PBS or some shit.
No shit.
Yeah, he's
Awesome.
he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
He got trapped in that action leading man thing, and I don't think that's who he is at all.
Well, it's not my favorite stuff that he does.
Mm.
I mean, I love the Prestige.
Mm-hmm. That's the best Christopher Nolan movie, by the way.
I didn't even realize he did that.
Yeah, he did that in between Batman Begins and Dark Knight.
Favorite dessert? Mm,
Cheesecake.
it's a good one. No peanut.
Right. It's cheese, I guess. I don't know.
Ish.
The fuck is in cheesecake? I don't know.
Goddamn cheese,
Cream.
Gord.
Cream cheese.
Cream cheese.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Movie villain.
Mm.
You think about a movie villain. What's the first one?
Norman Bates.
Oh, that's
That's a good one.
man. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Because you don't know he's the bad guy, right? At first, and then
Oh,
Yeah.
Psycho.
And then
I
he's
could watch
not-
Psycho on repeat.
Yeah, well, if you talk about horror movies, that's another one that springs to mind immediately because that's the movie that launched 1 billion ships, right? I mean, you could call that the first slasher movie and one of the most influential films just in general, and how far it pushed the boundaries of what you could do in a Hollywood movie and get away with it and really not show anything, you know?
Well, that's true.
So you look at the shower scene, you don't
Halloween.
see anything.
Yeah.
Same thing. And they're
Jaws.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
you see
a
Quint
little
going
bit.
and Quint gets chewed
Yeah.
up.
Well, I'll tell you
That's
one.
But for the
horrifying to
most
me when I was a kid.
But for the most of it, it's the anticipation.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you the movie that
You know.
peaks at that kind
Along
of thing where
with
you don't see it, but
The
you
other
know
two
it,
we talked about.
and that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's
It's almost no
all-
violence on screen.
Yeah, it's unseen,
Yeah.
pretty much. And
People walk away thinking they literally witnessed multiple murders, and there's barely any actual on-screen
Yeah.
violence. Yeah.
no, it's
when we say movie hero, who do you think of?
Movie hero?
Yeah.
I don't know. Not a huge Bond person, but I think that's kind of the
that's what he said.
archetype.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Or I'd say, or I'd just say Harrison Ford, just in general, like pick a part,
Yeah.
you know?
Not What Lies Beneath, though.
No, not that one. No, spoiler alert.
Not that one.
For that movie that came out 25 years ago.
Yeah. For all you lackeys. Okay, so we're almost done. These are really
I'm
easy.
having a blast, brother.
Is there life on other planets?
Yes.
Old music better.
No.
Bigfoot?
No. Can we stop with that? I'm done with that.
Poe said, we've been using that one a while. Like Poe said, because he asked him, he said, you believe in Bigfoot? He's like, yeah, it's more fun to believe. So I'm like,
That's
it
a good
is.
answer.
It really is.
I'm just tired. I heard someone talking about how Bigfoot's like a transdimensional being or something now, and I'm like, I can't. A hairy guy in the woods is one thing. Now you've invented like multiple different like universes for him to exist in. I'm not having
the
it.
Bigfoot multiverse.
Bigfoot's
done.
big footprint.
I'm done with the Bigfootery. Can we?
We got it, Michael. Settle down.
I'm mad now about Bigfoot.
Well,
I do love Harry and the Hendersons, though.
That's
One of my, I was
That's a good one.
John Lithgow, great film.
He makes a great villain.
oh, man. Cliffhanger.
Raising Cain.
Yeah.
And there's another one with him and Denzel where what is that one called?
I might
It's
not
an
seen
early
that.
Denzel movie. Ricochet, I think it's.
I've never seen that.
Oh, yeah.
I need to
believe
see
that is
that.
Ricochet.
Yeah.
He's a villain in a De Palma movie. Is it
Yes.
Raising Cain? Or he's
Yeah.
in another one. It's Raising Cain.
I think so, yeah.
He is great.
He's
Or
awesome.
yeah.
Oh, man. The Old Man. If you haven't seen the Old Man show,
Yeah.
he's in that
I
with
have not.
Bridges. It's a current. Is it
It's
FX?
an FX, yeah.
It's on. You can get it on Hulu, man. It is great.
Nice.
Jeff Bridges is the lead, but it's man, it's
Well,
really good.
I'm a
Season
human
2's
being with the
It's
pulse,
just
so I
like
love
your
Jeff
opinion,
Bridges.
man.
Yeah.
It's just like your opinion, man.
New shit has come to light.
Fuck it. Is karma really a bitch?
Karma's what you make it, brother.
Nice. Razor blades and candy. Did it ever happen
Erroneous. Erroneous on all counts.
to you? This is a good question for you, especially. Is later Beatles better than the early Beatles?
Indisputably.
Wow.
No, there's not even a conversation to be had.
And that's the end of the podcast.
That's what you want to hear in a podcast. There's no conversation to be had about that. No, I mean it
Yeah,
though.
I
I mean
mean,
it. Do you want to
because
hear
that
my
always-
do you want to hear my
Absolutely.
Reason?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Let's hear it.
So it's the influence of George Martin to me. Because people call Billy Preston the fifth Beatle. And
I love Game of Thrones. By the way. Go ahead. Mike.
I think Billy Preston was great on in the Let It Be sessions, but the fifth Beatles, George Martin. and the arrangements, the string arrangements, and the work he did in the recording studio with those guys, you wouldn't have had the records. And they defined what a rock album was. They invented that.
Well,
that came from the Beatles.
I guess too, you could say like what is early and late? What are
Rubber
those
Soul
categories?
to me is the turning point from when they were just a singles band to when they were making like full records that had
That's
like
a good point. Yeah. I don't know. I like that early stuff too, man. It's got a special place. My mom took us to see 1964 at Tennessee Theater.
Mhm.
I mean, they fucking killed it. I mean, they were every bit as good as, obviously they were mimicking them, but damn. And they only played the old stuff. They didn't play any of the.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the new stuff you couldn't play, and they weren't writing for it to be played because they couldn't fucking play. They couldn't play a show. Well, think about that shit. We don't have that anymore. A band that's so famous that they can't play a show. Like no one's that famous. No one's ever going to be that famous ever again.
No.
That's not going to be a thing ever again. We don't have that monoculture that we used to have.
No.
A, but B, there was just nothing like that. And what they did with it in such a short period of time. That's what I love is that transition only took a few years.
Yeah.
All they had to do was some drugs. And then they figured out
It's like two different bands, really.
It is. It is. And the Stones, also, another point about it, the Stones didn't really become the Stones until after the Beatles broke up. They were chasing them the whole time until the Beatles broke up. It was like they made the Stones a better band by breaking up.
That's a good point.
Then the Stones made Exile,
Yeah.
Yeah. Is vinyl better?
Yes.
Do blondes have more fun?
Yes.
Are magic real or
It's all around you, brother.
did we go to the fucking moon, Michael?
Of course we did.
Stanley Kubrick would beg to differ if he were alive.
Have you watched Eyes Wide Shut with that in mind? There's a theory that movie is about him, admitting that he did the moon hoax.
Yeah.
It's an interesting experience.
That room 187 or whatever it is.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's stupid as hell, but it's a lot of fun.
But after it, you're like, it could have been that way. I mean, really.
Yeah. Well, reasonable doubt, right?
That's why, remember what I said about the 3 wishes question where we should go back? Let's just go back to the moon. Let's just show everybody that it's easy to do that now. Like, it wouldn't be hard to do that. We could just go put a dude on the moon real quick. We could do it right now,
Could we, Michael?
Yeah.
Could we?
Well, unless it's a hologram and we live in the flat earth and we're surrounded by the ice wall or whatever.
There's supposed to be a meteor pass real close to us. Have you heard this shit?
Yeah.
I was listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson. His podcast is fantastic, by the way.
Like he fucking knows anything about space.
If you want to,
What's that guy know?
I listen to it going to sleep a lot because his voice is so
his word
good, and he'll usually have the same, sidekick there. But
and you wonder why you have problems.
yeah, true.
It's a comedian that's on that with him, isn't it? I've seen
There's a
clips
female
of
that's
that.
a comedian, and then the other guy is not a comedian. I forget his name, but he's talking about some meteor that's supposed to pass between the Earth and our satellites.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it makes it through this 60 to 70 mile wide window,
mm-hmm.
then it will actually strike Earth in 7 years from that point. Like, damn. And I don't mean it's a big dude too. It's an Armageddon situation.
We just need to do an Armageddon. That's what I was gonna say. Just send Bruce. Bruce can't do it now. We gotta.
No,
I don't want to send Affleck.
We gotta have.
That's no good.
No. We're dead for sure.
we got nobody else.
That, and then we just need to have a new Aerosmith album, and that'll take care of it. Because nobody wants to hear that fucking
get that
dog
either.
shit.
I hate that song, man. I hate that movie. Actually.
I think they've only got 2 number ones, and that's one of them.
Yep.
That one. And I forget what the other one is.
Afterlife?
I don't know. I hope so.
Ghosts?
I don't know. Maybe.
No ghost stories?
You want to hear my ghost story?
Yeah.
So I was living in house off Baxter behind what's Three Rivers Market. And it was a Kern's bread place before that. I was in the front room, just right there in the corner of Baxter and Alexander it is, I think. And had these old doors, like original to the house, really old house. They didn't latch, right? So these big, heavy, old wooden doors, like, 10-foot doors going all the way up to these, big ceilings. And they didn't latch. So they would just, kind of swing open sometimes. And one morning, and I don't know if it was a dream, but I was kind of in that place where you're like, you're not awake, but you're kind of awake. And sun was out. It was early. Sun was up, and I saw a woman and a little girl, and she was holding a little girl's hand. They were standing there in the door, and the door was wide open. And then I, like blink or whatever, and door's open, but there's nobody there. Same house. Upstairs, we had like a kind of an attic bonus room situation. They added some extra bedrooms up there, and there was like a living area. And I was playing. We had an old TV and a original Nintendo setup up there, and I got off work. No one else was home, and I was up there playing Nintendo. And here, I was playing. I was trying to speed run Mario Brothers, is what I was trying to do. I was like really into trying to beat Mario as fast as I could do it. And I heard the door close. It wasn't. Everybody came in through the back by the kitchen. Heard that door close. And then I heard voices, and I was like, oh, someone's home. So there were like 6 of us in the house that shared it. And so I paused the game, go down the stairs, kitchen lights on, but there's nobody down there. House empty. I'm still the only one home. And so something with that place was weird. I don't know if it was haunted, and I don't know if it was a ghost.
Yeah, I think.
But something was going on.
Yeah.
Video games. He just mentioned them. That's a good question. Isn't that one of the list?
Sure. Video games. I must have just skimmed fast. We need to update this.
Like favorite video game?
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda series, hands down. My favorite games of all time. I played every single one of them. Always will.
Which is the best
Never
one?
understood it.
Really? Oh, man. I
never got into them either.
Just love it.
Wasn't my thing.
My favorite one, Breath of the Wild, actually. Yeah. Like, just the way that it updated, it maintains all of the shit I love about the old games and updates it, brings it into the modern day. And I've got to watch my niece and nephew fall in love with it. I just got to watch my 5-year-old nephew beat the sequel to it, Tears of the Kingdom, when I was up there in October. 5-year-old beat Ganon. I watched him do it, and I can't do that. Like that they got too hard for me, Games are hard now.
They are. They are.
Is the Earth round?
It is, yes, clearly.
Have aliens visited Earth?
You were the aliens, man.
Do hitmen exist?
You count Lee Harvey Oswald? I mean, I don't know.
It's your answer. Yes or no?
I don't know. Probably.
All right. And the last one. Are all men created equal?
All humans are created equal, I believe. Yeah. Never liked the men part of that.
All right. That's it. That's that. December 22nd, 7 to 9 p.m. at the Knoxville Bijou Theater, downtown Knoxville, the 12th annual Mike McGill Christmas Spectacular. You'll see this young man over here performing a couple of songs along with a host of all kinds of other local guest artists that are, I'm sure with no doubt, are going to impress and entertain you for that evening. All the proceeds go to Second Harvest Food Bank, Food for Kids program. Ticket prices are $20, and that $20 will feed, will make 60 meals. $100 will feed one child for an entire year. And it still amazes us each time we do this to talk about it, that actually can happen. But it really can happen. I've been to the facilities, and they run a wonderful program there. And just stay tuned to all the social media accounts, as well as our podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, and on the YouTube. We are not going to let you forget that before December 22nd. I can assure you that. But we also, and the big reason that we're not going to let you forget it is because, you know, it would do nothing better. I would be no more pleased, and I don't think anybody else in the world would either, than to put Second Harvest out of business. That's what I'd like to do. So you can be a part of that. You can do something for the holidays that you had no idea that is going to carry that much reach. And given the effects of the recent floods and hurricanes,
Really need it right now.
We really need it right now. That program touches is effective in 19 different counties all over rural East Tennessee. So $20, make a difference. Come be entertained. Have a good time on Christmas.
Buy some merch.
You know, buy some merch. We're going to have merchandise there as well. And honestly, come see what your city has to offer. We have a lot of good people. We have a lot of good things, and we do a lot of good causes. We are called the volunteer state for a reason. And, you know, for the past 12 years, this has been something near and dear to my heart. So smarten up, call your kids, neighbors, hell, somebody you don't even like. Maybe it'll change their attitude. Come down. Do yourself a favor and be entertained for a really, really good cause. Michael, thank you for being here.
Oh, man. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Anything you want to plug, promote, talk about?
The thing that you just promoted, man.
Okay.
I've never been more excited about a show before. Excited for the opportunity to be on the stage of the Bijou, but even more for all the reasons you just said about what it's about.
Man.
So
it's the right
checks all the boxes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Jamie, you want to do another one?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Folks, be kind to one another. It costs nothing to be kind. Anybody can be an asshole. It doesn't take anything special for that. And
he really knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's timing. It costs nothing to be kind, but there's always a certain price to be paid for cruelty. You heard it here first. Thanks for watching One More for the Good Guys. Cheers, everybody, and life's too smoke. Or shit, I got it right.
Life is too smoke.
Life's too short to smoke bad cigars. See ya.